during a week-long recess. Now reports in the Daily Wire and Free Beacon indicate the protests were anything but spontaneous. Rather, they were organized by George Soros-funded groups Move On and Indivisible. Despite the orchestration, mainstream outlets such as CBS, The Washington Post, and The New York Times reported them as though they were grassroots efforts. Bob Agnew reporting.
Egypt says negotiations between Israel and Hamas on the next phase of the Gaza ceasefire have begun in Cairo. Egypt's State Information Service said officials from Israel, Qatar, and the U.S. on Thursday started intensive discussions on the second phase of the ceasefire. Earlier in the day, an Israeli official had said its military will not withdraw from a strategic corridor in the Gaza Strip. The pullout was part of the ceasefire, and Israel's refusal could spark a crisis with Hamas and key mediator Egypt. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 193 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Face it, the world is uncertain these days, but there's something reassuring about holding on to what lasts, like the 2025 1-ounce Gold Eagle from the U.S. Mint, a symbol of American strength and an asset that stands the test of time. You can trust gold, and you can trust Global Coin. Call 888-800-1045 to secure this magnificent gold coin, graded in pristine MS-70 condition for the dealer cost of $2,999. Free shipping, no sales tax. This is your chance to own a piece of history while building a foundation of enduring value. And it gets even better. Global Coin is giving the first 100 callers a free MS-70 2025 Silver Eagle to complement your 1-ounce Gold Eagle. Two iconic coins, a symbol of prosperity and a testament to the enduring value of gold and silver. Global Coin backs every purchase with a 30-day return policy, ensuring your peace of mind. Visit globalcoindeal.com or call 888-800-1045. No gimmicks, incredible coins at incredible prices. Again, that's 888-800-1045.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
China now says differences on international trade should be resolved through negotiations. That comment comes after President Trump announced a doubling of the 10% universal tariff charged on imports from China. U.S. stock market is doing well this year. However, there is a caveat.
When it comes to stock markets worldwide, this year has clearly not been America first. Wall Street has risen in 2025 and isn't far from its all-time high. However, it's climbed less than equities markets in Mexico City, Paris, and Hong Kong.
That is correspondent Rich Thomas. On a dismal day on Wall Street today, the Dow lost 193 points at 43,239. S&P off 77 at 5881. The NASDAQ plummeted 530 points. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Jason Walker.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith B.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing overnight with a low temperature dipping down to 42. Tomorrow it's glorious. Sunshine all day, a high of 70. And for Saturday, mostly sunny again. The high is 75. Sunday we get more sunshine, but it's cooler. The high just 56. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point.
Make thepointradio.com.
With Phil Kornblut and Chris. This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network here on this big Thursday night from the capital city. Good to have you with us wherever you are dialed in after a very busy day. We had a busy day, made it down to Charleston for the introductory press conference for the new AD at the Citadel. Art Chase, very popular name in our state for those of us who work in the media, because Art was once the SID, they now call them communications directors or whatever, SID at Presbyterian, and then went to the Citadel, worked there, but for the last 25 years he was at Duke University in communications for the most part, did a great job there, and now he is in charge of his own program. We welcome in Chris Bergen from the Berge Palace in Sardis. You know Art well from your days as the voice of the Blue Hose.
Yeah, it's really cool. Art's an outstanding person, first of all, and I think he'll do a terrific job at the Citadel, so I'm happy for him. I was excited when I saw the news come out a couple of weeks ago, but it was fascinating to me, Phil. It sort of reminds me of the pathway that Matt Hogue took to become the athletics director at Coastal Carolina. You don't normally see guys from our side of the coin end up in charge of athletic departments. It's usually somebody with a business background or a law degree or a coach. Normally it's a coach, right? Like Ray Tanner, taking over. So, but yeah, to see somebody go from the communications side of the coin, radio, like Matt Hogue did down at Coastal, and now to see Art Chase go from sports information, working at PC, and then working with Duke basketball, and now turning that into an athletic director's role at the Citadel, I think it's outstanding.
Well, I think more schools should hire people like us. I think people like us behind the mics were actually smarter than most people out there anyway. So why not hire the best and the brightest? And that would be people like you and me. So any school out there looking for somebody to run them into the ground, we would be a good choice. You don't sound so good, Hoss.
No, my cold has come back. I got through yesterday. I sucked it up for a game, and now I'm back. It was fascinating talking to Justin Gray last night, head coach at Coastal, before the game, and he said that flu bug or whatever it was that started with Jordan Battle on Saturday at Troy, and he couldn't play, and then a couple of other players got sick. They couldn't practice Monday. They practiced sort of in shifts on Tuesday. They had an assistant coach go down with an illness. They had their athletic trainer go down with an illness. Their radio guy, who's the least important of the bunch, he went down with an illness.
Yep.
And they couldn't get everybody back in. And they actually had Zoom meetings. Coach kind of chuckled. It reminded him of the COVID days when you couldn't really get the team together and you just communicated via Zoom. So I tell you, it's tough. You know, football teams, I don't think, deal with it to the degree that basketball programs do, especially because of the time of year. But when an illness and bug of some sort gets into a basketball team, it will run through that team in a hurry. I mean, it really will.
I'm hoping, I had what they called flu A few weeks ago, which, as I told the doctor, flu A, that's the first A I've ever made in my life. Hello. But I'm hoping that where's the rim shot on that, Josh? That was a good one. Did you like that one, Sully? Sully liked it. Where's the rim shot? We can have a delayed.
I'm not going to give you a rim shot. You gave me the flu as well. So.
We can have a delayed rim shot. So let me repeat it. Oh.
You can do it again?
So my doctor told me I had flu A, and I said, God, first time I've ever earned an A in my life. Oh, I got the gong. I didn't get the rim shot. Okay. Anyway, I hope that thing is like they said once you had COVID, you were like protected. You wouldn't get it again. Don't know if that's true or not. I'm hoping once you've had flu A or flu B that you don't get it again, like you got some sort of protection from it. What do you think?
I would hope so. Now, my concern is if they've designated letter grades for the flu, how far down does it go? I mean, is F- like the worst?
I don't know. They just told me I had flu A, and I said, okay, thank you very much. Boy, Clemson gave Notre Dame the flu last night.
Yes,
I don't know. Look, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be an expert because I don't see every team in the country play. But really, is there any team in the country right now playing as well as Clemson is playing? Their numbers last night, of course, they won over Notre Dame to improve to 23-5 and 15-2. And Brooks Thomason covered the game for us on the website and on our X last night, our X SC Sports Now. Make sure you sign up for that SC Sports Now. He'll be joining us at 6:35. Excuse me, to give us his thoughts on the game from being there in person. But the Tigers led this thing practically the entire way, and they end up shooting for the game of about 48%. They hit 9 more threes, coming off a game in which they hit 14 threes, 14 of 18 from the line, 23 assists on 30 baskets, and
incredible.
These 3 numbers blew me away. 23 assists on 30 baskets and only 4 turnovers.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I think it was the best assist-to-turnover ratio in the program's history. I mean, what the Tigers are doing right now, and it's the most regular season wins that Brad Brownell has had at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has done what you want. We've watched Lamont Paris and the Gamecocks clearly struggle coming off an NCAA tournament berth last year and really not taking advantage of that trip to the postseason and sort of springboarding it into another solid campaign. That's certainly not happening at USC, but Clemson has taken last year's run to the Elite Eight, and they look every bit the part of an Elite Eight type team once again. The only team I could compare them to that's probably playing as well, if not better, well, there may be a couple. Duke certainly in their conference, but Clemson beat Duke.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Auburn's probably the only team right now that I've seen playing better basketball than Clemson, but just what the Tigers are doing, and they come out and, boy, that Georgia Tech game is just going to continue to stick in their crawl because, again, I think that's going to be the game that cost them an ACC regular season championship. But aside from that, the last month and a half, they've been superb.
Yep. Moving on up, could climb as high as a 3 seed when they adjust things here, maybe after the weekend. And you look at the Tigers in the net ranking after their win last night, and they're 23. So they're right about where they were, 23. Didn't get a big bump from that. They are 4-2 in Q1 wins, 23-5 overall. I mean, did you ever think you would say these words, but Clemson's being hurt by playing in the ACC?
Yeah.
Since the ACC is so poor. Wake Forest got beat last night. That doesn't help the ACC's cause. They got beat by Virginia, which should open up Clemson's eyes because they play at Virginia Saturday. So they got to go into that game at Virginia well aware that Virginia is capable.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Virginia is a team that, because of their style of play, and I'm assuming they are maintaining the same style that Tony Bennett was so successful with over the years, same style of play that will grind you out defensively. It's kind of like what Clemson does, but Clemson's added that really, really good offensive output to a very deliberate type style of play, and Clemson's been terrific, but they should know. All they've got to do is look back the week prior to the North Carolina and Duke games and say, we let one slip away, we weren't ready to play. They can't be doing the same thing on the road in Charlottesville. It could be a long afternoon, but I think Clemson, because they're an older team, Brad Brownell's got that team focused on what they've got to do. They've got to get help. They realize that and really can't control that. They just can control what they can control. It's cliche, but it's true. Just go out and keep winning games and let everything else take care of itself. But Clemson's they've locked in the double bye in the ACC tournament. Mm-hmm. They're going to be a tough out both in the conference tournament and certainly in the NCAA tournament.
Well, I mean, I really think you have to consider the real possibility that Clemson is going to win the ACC tournament championship for the first time ever. That's a possibility. That's a real possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
sure
you just can't shrug your shoulders and say, no, it can't happen. It can happen. Now, I think you got to – obviously there's Duke, but I think you've got to keep an eye on North Carolina sort of creeping up from the backside of the league because they were stumbling there for a while, and they've sort of gotten it together here of late. Now, they're going to play Duke here at the end of next week to close out the regular season, and we'll see how they feel after that. But
I'm going to say one thing, Phil, because we have gotten no calls to Sports Talk about Clemson basketball, and it's terribly disappointing. I mean, Tiger fans, where are you? If you're ever going to brag about your basketball team, now's the time to do it. But there better be a really good crowd and good contingent of Clemson folks that go up to Charlotte to watch the ACC tournament. Don't let the Blue Bloods roll in there and Duke dominate the crowd and North Carolina dominate the crowd and maybe win the game against Clemson because of the crowd. Tiger fans should go up to Charlotte in droves because you're right. They have a legitimate shot to win the ACC championship this year.
Well, I think they will be there. I think they will be there.
So.
Because there's going to be a lot of tickets available as those teams lose the first 2 days Be a lot of tickets floating around on the secondary market. So I think Clemson fans will be right in there. If, of course, Duke fans are going to buy a bunch of tickets.
Oh, yeah.
If North Carolina makes it to Thursday, their fans will pick up a bunch of tickets. But I got to believe that Tiger fans are going to buy a lot of tickets as well. Okay, on to a few things, and we'll take some phone calls, 888-898-2525. The appeal today by Ashley Ridge was denied unanimously by the South Carolina High School League Executive Committee. I don't think they're pursuing anything else. I think that's over with.
No, they've got a
excuse me.
They've got a I think I saw they're meeting with the appellate panel tomorrow at 10. I believe I saw that correctly. One of the teams. Let me double check on that. You go ahead.
Okay. I could be wrong on that. I didn't scroll down that far, but I saw that it was unanimous against them because they played a player who did not have a bona fide change of address, that her family still lives in the Cane Bay area. I believe her brother plays baseball for Cane Bay, younger brother, and so they did not make a residence change. And they knew this all year long, from what I understand, the argument being made. They knew this all year long. And, what happens is schools wait to turn somebody in when they can most benefit from getting that school caught by the high school league. High school league doesn't do this. High school league doesn't do anything until somebody alerts them. So you can't pin it on the high school league, except to say, as you and I agree, I think the rule should be once you start the playoff, the rosters are locked. So if you know something about somebody, you can't wait till the playoffs.
Yeah, because it messes up the playoff bracket too. And not only it looks spiteful. It's exactly what it looks like. And that's why I made the comment the other day that it had to be one of the schools, and I'm not sure it was, but the thought process was it's probably one of the teams that that lost to them in the playoffs. All right, we'll get them back. We've been sitting on this, this cherry for a long time. Now we're going to cash it in here and get Ashley Ridge out of the playoffs. I think it's unfair at this point in time. Ashley Ridge should have known better. They broke the rules and they should be out of the playoffs, but it should have been before the playoffs began, not now. And by the way, Ashley Ridge will appeal tomorrow before the appellate panel at 10 a.m.
Okay. They ruled against Ridgeview because Ridgeview tried to get that spot that has been created with Ashley Ridge being out. Somerville also had an appeal of an ineligible player. Excuse me, I'm still dealing with my cough. And that appeal was upheld. So Somerville also had to go before the court. Their appeal was upheld 8-5. So Somerville is in, and the way it stands now, Somerville moves right to the state championship game in girls 5A Division I. So I don't know what the difference is. I guess in one case, the Somerville case, they proved to enough people that they had, whatever player was in question had made a bona fide change of address and made a bona fide move. Ridgeview tried to get in. They appealed to replace Ashley Ridge. They were voted down 12-0. I don't understand that. You would think the team that lost to the team that had the ineligible player would have the opportunity to get back in the bracket and
makes sense, doesn't it?
And play in the semifinal. I don't understand the logic in that move. But anyway, that's the story from that. Meantime, today in Florence at the Florence Center, they are now playing upper and lower state semifinal games. So we're going to have Thomas Ryan on with us from Dorman tonight at 7:30. Coach John Combs has a banquet to go to for his daughter, a basketball banquet to go to for his daughter. So Coach Thomas Ryan from Dorman, of course, they're going for another state championship, and he will join us at 7:35. 7:05, John Whittle and Will Vandervoort, experts on their respective teams, the Gamecocks and the Tigers. They're going to go toe-to-toe. Little crossfire action talking about the baseball series. Back in just a moment.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Imagine a scrapbook filled with all your favorite memories of 75 years at Darlington Raceway. Now imagine that scrapbook going 190 miles per hour.
Have you ever? No, I've never.
You don't have to imagine. You need to get to Darlington, where the drivers of today tackle the track too tough to tame, just like they did your first time. NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway, April 5th and 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at scEducationLottery.com/betteryou.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Relax. Start your journey with a new auto loan. Get on the road with an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. From city streets to off-road trails, your journey begins here. Our low fixed rates can get you on the road in a ride that fits your lifestyle and budget with no payments for up to 90 days. You can apply for a pre-approved spending limit even before you start shopping. Visit one of our many convenient office locations or go to foundersfcu.com/auto to apply for an auto loan today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, today in high school basketball, Military Magnet, this is girls, 1A, Lower State, Military Magnet beat Denmark Oler 57-36, advancing to their fourth championship game in 5 years. They'll play the winner of the North Lee Central game in the championship next Thursday at 2 o'clock. And now they've got the Class A boys, Lower State, and I'm reading stuff from Lou Bajak Scoop. And let's see if they've posted the final. Man, that was an hour ago. Last thing we had was an hour ago. The halftime score was Denmark Oler leading Bethune-Bowman 25-15. That was halftime, and that was an hour ago. So we'll update that as soon as we can. We have a final. How quickly can we update it? So Denmark Oler beat Bethune-Bowman 63-49, Class A boys, Lower State. Advances to first state championship since 1990, and they will play the winner of C.A. Johnson and Abbeville next Thursday. And, of course, you got all the semifinal games. This is one thing I just don't get. I don't understand. I guess Florence Center must have made a huge bid to get both the semifinals and the finals. I can understand playing the finals down there. You know, one location for all the finals, but having the semifinals and having to have teams from the upper state have to come all the way down to Florence
it's
twice
nonsense.
Doesn't make a whole lot of
It's just
sense
nonsense.
to me. Yeah.
You can't tell me that if you don't want to go to the Milo Center or whatever they call it now up in Greenville, if that didn't work, that, say, Anderson University, Furman, somebody in the upstate, heck, Clemson, somebody could have stepped forward and hosted those upper state teams. I mean, it's almost like we don't have the geographical boundaries in our state. We've just designated upper and lower state just to have two halves of the bracket. But they're all going to come here to Florence and play. Look, I'm not complaining. It's great for our community here in the PD, but there's no reason a team from Powdersville should have to come down here to play the upper state championship game.
I agree. We'll ask Thomas Ryan his thoughts on that coming up. I'm sure we'll hear some interesting words from him. All right, let's jump to the phones, 888-898-2525. First up tonight, it's TBT time. Tiger Bryan, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Man, I got that crud like you got, brother.
No, not again. Not again.
I ain't lying. I reckon it's just, I get it through the phone from you.
Oh,
you know, but,
well, I got some powerful germs. My germs can penetrate cement
tell you
blocks.
what, I got some powerful. I told you, Miss Tiger Brown, get honey, cayenne pepper, and lemon juice, mix it together, and just take a little spoonful of that. It's going to open you up. Yep. No, I went fishing the other day, and my buddy just cut his field, and all that wind, Wednesday, it was so pretty, I had to go fishing. I'm a fishing fanatic.
What'd you catch?
And I caught one brim about a pound. And you know what I was doing, Coleman? I was getting ready for a tournament I was going to go to. I was just putting U-line on my reel. I was just throwing out the ceiling. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't fishing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, we got a big tournament next week at Lake Murray.
No, it's not next week. No, next 2 weeks we're going down there to Georgetown.
Well, I know
look
that.
At that
Yeah, that place is nice. That place is nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
Miss Tiger Bryan, I thought she deserved the best, baby.
That's uptown. That's uptown. I hope
you
got a lot of money.
I
hope you got a lot of money.
It ain't got no money. Ain't no problem here.
Good.
You tell Chris, you talking about these Clemson people ain't me. Cohen, I mean, how many times I was talking about Clemson basketball? Listen, what about my softball team, girls?
Mm-hmm.
What about my gymnastics this week? And my baseball team this weekend is going to smart. I'm going to get the broom out this weekend.
Yeah, what is your prediction? What's your prediction for the series?
Well, I'm going to get the broom. I'm the sweep.
You're thinking sweep? You're thinking sweep?
I'm sweeping. Yeah, we're 13 in the nation. What they are?
Well, I'll say this.
They're football. You remember years ago they used to be a baseball team and a women's basketball team, and we now they're a football team. They want to be, they want to be. But,
South Carolina posted their rotation today, and
it don't matter.
They're a little concerned about Sunday because I guess SQ's back might be acting up a little bit, so they did not announce a starter for Sunday. So,
well, it don't matter, Corn. I'm telling you, get the broom out. Bet the house on sweep.
On a sweep.
I bet the house on sweep. I got inside information.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to bet your house on a sweep.
Yeah, me too.
Don't you bet your house.
I'm going to bet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, anybody need a 7,800 square foot, 3-floor mansion with 6 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms because he needs an extra one, with a swimming pool and a sauna and a 5-car garage. Tiger Bryan's putting that up on the betting market for a sweep of the Gamecocks. There you go. All right, we got to run. We got to hit the break. We're going to hear from Brad Brownell. We're going to hear from Art Chase. More coming up. Don't go away.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing overnight with a low temperature dipping down to 42. Tomorrow it's glorious. Sunshine all day, a high of 70. And for Saturday, mostly sunny again, the high is 75. Sunday we get more sunshine, but it's cooler, the high just 56. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting a woman suspected of vandalism against a Colorado Tesla dealership that included Molotov cocktails thrown at vehicles and a message apparently directed against Tesla co-founder Elon Musk has been charged in federal court. Court documents show Lucy Grace Nelson was charged Wednesday with 1 count of malicious destruction of property. She appeared Thursday in federal court in Denver. Mexico has sent infamous drug lord Rafael Caro Quintero to the U.S., along with 28 other prisoners requested by the U.S. government. Caro Quintero was behind the killing of a U.S. DEA agent in 1985. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 193 points. The Nasdaq dropped 530. More details at srnnews.com.
I sure like to brag about good local businesses. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is a great local biz. Josh and his team stress customer service as their top priority. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning came out to my house. I had a toilet that wasn't working right, a garbage disposal that died. They came out right on time, told me everything they were going to do, and explained the price of each repair before even bringing in the tools. I knew exactly what I was getting and exactly what it would cost. Their prices are fair. Their team is courteous and professional. Plus, they did a great job fixing what needed fixing in my home. I am very careful about making any recommendations, and I'm thrilled and confident to suggest you call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning for any plumbing needs. If it's a repair or to replace something, if it's that tankless water heater that you've always wanted to give you that endless hot water and save you some money. They unclog drain and sewer lines and so much more. Online, you'll find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com or just give Josh and those great folks a phone call, 799-2222. That's 799-2222, and tell them you heard about them from here at The Point.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Imagine a cooler home this summer and a warmer one during winter without the sky-high power costs. Redbird Windows and Doors offers you the solution with our state-of-the-art energy-efficient windows and doors. Locally operated, we promise a hassle-free experience with our expert team handling everything from consultation to installation and doing so flawlessly. Upgrade your home's comfort and cut down those energy bills. Visit redbirdwindows.com or call us 727-0561 today. Redbird Windows and Doors. Local experience matters.
Imagine a home where every corner speaks volumes of care, precision, and impeccable style. At Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovations, we transform spaces with a splash of color and an expert touch. With fully licensed, bonded, and insured craftsmanship, we're not just doing a job, we're upholding a reputation. Whether it's painting, pressure washing, or wood repairs, we handle everything from your honey-do list to major projects. Call us today at 922-5615 and elevate your living space with Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovations.
Sports talk every weeknight from 6 to 8, feeling just right. Phil, Chris, and Josh, they're in the zone. Across South Carolina, they're well known. Sports talk, bringing the heat. Talking sports, can't be beat. Tune in, don't you pout. It's a show you can't live without.
Okay, we are back. It is Sports Talk Media Network. Big Thursday here across South Carolina. Glad you're with us. Phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Also want to mention our poll question of the week, which is presented by Larry Lucas Insurance. And phone number for Larry, 803-799-1998. 803-799-1998. Be sure to call Larry for all your insurance questions and needs. And the question is, who's going to win the rivalry series this weekend between South Carolina and Clemson in baseball? And so far, 47.4% of the respondents have Clemson winning 2-1. South Carolina, 36.8% have the Gamecocks winning 2-1. 10.5% have the Gamecocks in a sweep. So that's actually now, when you add those together, that's at 47.3% for the Gamecocks. And then Clemson in a sweep, 5.3%. So that puts the Tigers at 52.7%. So overall, 52% of the voters say Clemson is going to win, either in a sweep or either 2-1. You got time to vote on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. Also on our X page, which is SC Sports Now, at SC Sports Now. Let me mention, too, that, boy, it's 80 degrees today. Went down to Charleston for the press conference. Coming back, 80 degrees, feeling like summertime, vacation time, beach time. Make sure you give Jimmy Smith a call. James Smith Real Estate, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Let him get you set up for your summer vacation. 843-237-4246. 843-237-4246. Paulie's is the place. Jimmy the man. He makes it happen. He puts it all together for you. He and his staff. Again, that's Jimmy Smith, 843-237-4246. Chris, I think maybe.
You know, it's supposed to drop back into 20s on Sunday, don't you?
No, it's not. That's not happening.
At 54,
no,
the high on Sunday.
That's not happening.
And overnight lows in the 20s.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Nope. You want to put your paid weather app against
I'm opening
the
my
Weather
paid.
Channel?
I'm putting my paid weather app. I was just going to say, to get rid of these your current cold and my nagging congestion, we should go down to the beach and suck in some salt water and let that run through our system.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Let's see. Friday, tomorrow, I'm seeing sunny and 69.
Mm-hmm.
Low of 40. That's fine. I don't mind it being cooler at night. Saturday, mostly sunny and 73. Low of 41. Sunday, 62. Low of 31. Very pleasant. I call that pleasant. You know, I can put on the Speedo and hang out by the pool in those conditions. So
cannot unsee that.
I know.
Just cannot unsee that.
So welcome in Brooks Thomason, who covered
who
Clemson.
Also cannot unsee that.
I won't ask Brooks about that. He's young and impressionable. Brooks up at Little John last night covering Clemson and Notre Dame. Welcome in. That was a heck of a performance the Tigers put on last night.
It was a heck of a performance after they kind of got over that first little rut in the first half. But, yeah, it was a beautiful day for the Tigers, just getting business done like they should be doing.
What happened after – you're right, it was a little tight early, and then I guess you could say Shefflin happened. Huh.
Yeah, the chef came into the kitchen and he finally got going. He put up a solo run of himself near the end of the first half there. Started with a straightaway three from the top of the key, and then down low, got himself a good layup as well. Made a couple other shots from the mid-range area, and just like that, Clemson went from down 1 with 5 minutes left to up 10 at halftime. So it was a huge performance from Shefflin, just be able to will Clemson to a scary first half that's a comfortable end.
They moved the ball, a lot of assists on their baskets, very few turnovers. From your position, how much in sync did they look on offense?
it was a beautiful day for Clemson. It was their second best ever assist-to-turnover ratio in school history, and it was a run of accolades last night. It was Brownell's best season ever as a Clemson head coach with 23 wins, 15 in the ACC, which is school record. Ian Shefflin finished with a career high and 1,000 points. I mean, and a 15-point win. It was really just a perfect day for Clemson as they wrap up business for their second-last home game. And the passing was instrumental. It seemed like every single time they had a shot, they passed it up a good shot for a great shot, which led to those baskets, particularly in the second half when they ran up the score to be all the way up to 20 midway through the second half.
Yeah, they pretty much dominated. I think Notre Dame got to within 9 a couple of times, but then Clemson hit them with a nice run, pushed the lead back up to 15, and never really let them get back into it after that. So it has to be how was the crowd? 7 o'clock tip, so that's not a bad tip time. Was it a packed place? Was the crowd really into the ballgame?
The crowd was not packed, which is, I don't want to say it's a sad thing to see, particularly with this great Clemson basketball team, but it was definitely not horrible showing that night. When a game was close in the first half and a couple threes were made, the crowd started getting back into it. But once they took control, it was kind of just smooth watching for the fans and nothing to stress about. So a game that should not have been stressful for the Tigers became a little bit stressful. The crowd got on the edge, then it came unstressful, and then they got to go home safely. But it wasn't really a packed house as it should be, in my opinion, at Little John.
Yeah, they list the attendance at 87, so 8,700. So you're right, it should be packed. There shouldn't have been an empty seat in the place, considering how well this team is playing and moving up in the brackets, moving up in the rankings as well. Brooks, we appreciate it, man. Good work last night. We'll talk to you again soon.
Perfect. I appreciate you, Phil. You have a great day.
You too, buddy. Thank you. Here is Brad Brownell. A little bit of what the head coach of the Tigers had to say after another win, another double-digit win in the ACC last night.
Pleased with our team's performance today. I thought Notre Dame played really hard, and obviously Marcus Burton is a terrific player. I mean, he's so hard to handle and did a terrific job for them. But our offense tonight was really, really good, just very efficient. We've continued to share the ball, and to have 3 guys have 5 assists and no turnovers is terrific. 23 or 4 assists on the game, and just really pleased with all those things. Obviously happy for Ian, 1,000th point, big time game, 24 points. He was awesome. And then Jake Heidbreder, couldn't be more happy for Jake. He's a good player that's been coming off our bench and working really hard for all year, and sat out last year, and he was a really good player at Air Force. He's a good player here, and I'm just, you want good things like that to happen for somebody who sacrifices and works as hard as he is. I think he's really improving, and happy to see him have a big game. I thought he was very good defensively too. He got to play a little more. Obviously, Chase, most people don't. Chase tweaked his calf. Was it Thursday in practice, and didn't practice Friday, and just tried to gut it out a little bit today. He certainly wasn't 100%, and so we kept his minutes a little bit lower because of that. But proud of him for just fighting, and good win for us, double-figure win at home. So just got to try to keep it going.
All right, Brad Brownell following the win last night. They go to Virginia Saturday. That might be a little tougher, Chris, than we first thought, because Virginia had a nice win last night over Wake Forest. But they've got Boston College, I think, still left on their schedule. And, I mean, down the stretch here, it looks pretty favorable for them to be able to finish the regular season on a nice winning streak.
Yeah, I don't see them losing another game in the regular season at all. And so that's the only frustrating thing if you're Brad Brownell, to sit back and look, man, we had an opportunity to win this whole league regular season-wise, and we let one slip away. But the way they're playing, I can't imagine they should struggle if they show up to play.
Yeah.
And that's always the issue. Just ask Georgia Tech. If Clemson doesn't show up to play, they can get beaten. They're not Auburn. They're still not the elite of the elite. But to Brooks Thomason, when he talked about the crowd wasn't packed last night at Little John, what are you talking about? That's what I was mentioning earlier. What are you waiting on? What else does that program and that team have to show to get your support?
Yeah.
I mean, there's absolutely no excuse for them not having sellouts the rest of the way.
I agree. And loud,
that's embarrassing.
And disruptive. When I say disruptive, I mean loud enough to affect the other team. At Virginia, at Boston College. Of course, anytime you go on the road, you kind of hold your breath. At Virginia, at Boston College, and then home to Virginia Tech to finish things out. Like I said last night, you weren't with us last night. You were calling your own victory, but not enough people are talking about Clemson basketball. I mean, we are. I think we might be the only ones carrying the orange flag. Nationally, they don't get a whole lot of love from the talking heads, and they're just now, getting the votes in the AP ranking to move up to 13. The bracketologists have been slow in moving them up in the brackets to some degree. They were 5th, they had moved up to number 5. So you can't watch this Clemson team on a regular basis and not be impressed and not say this is a darn good team that might go one step farther than last year's team went.
You take their team, put their resume, put their record and everything else, and put a North Carolina uniform on him. Everybody's talking about that team might be a number 1 seed.
Oh, they'd be ranked in the top 4. I don't care what the ACC is doing. That's reputation working for you there.
Exactly.
All right, want to run to the break. When we come back, some comments from the new athletics director at the Citadel, Art Chase. We'll have him on the show live with us in a couple of weeks. Give him a little bit of time to get into the flow and the feel. He doesn't actually start. He's got next week to finish up at Duke, his official work there, and then he'll join the Citadel and take over. But an exciting time. Happy for him, and he's going to do a fantastic job. It's a tough job at the Citadel, as we all know. We'll hear from Art in a moment.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a dentist. I want to be an engineer.
Making dreams come true starts with making a plan. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to invest in a child's future education so they can chase any dream. You can start with any amount, contributions are tax deductible, and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com.
Imagine a scrapbook filled with all your favorite memories of 75 years at Darlington Raceway. Now imagine that scrapbook going 190 miles per hour.
Have you ever? No, I've never.
You don't have to imagine it. You need to get to Darlington, where the drivers of today tackle the track too tough to tame, just like they did your first time. NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway, April 5th and 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett, or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. Jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
Hey, South Carolina, get ready for the ultimate fishing event. Major League Fishing's Bass Pro Tour is coming to Lake Murray. Join fans of all ages at the Fishing Show, Watch Party, and Trophy Ceremony Saturday and Sunday, March 8th and 9th at Dreer Island, both days starting at 1 o'clock. Meet the world's top anglers. Enjoy free food and win amazing prizes. Meet Paw Patrol, Sky, and Marshall. And the first 50 kids 14 and under get a free Abu Garcia rod and reel each day. It's all happening at Dreer Island State Park, March 8th and 9th. Get all the info at MajorLeagueFishing.com/attend.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Now back to Phil, Chris, and Josh with Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All All right, made the quick drive down to Charleston. Love going to Charleston. Tried to get to see Jerome, but I couldn't get through his security, at his mansion with those big gates and the German shepherds protecting his property, and he's got more protection around him than Elon Musk. Couldn't get near his place. But anyway, was able to get over to the Citadel and listen in to Art Chase, and then the media had a chance for a little gaggle get-together with the new AD at the Citadel. His opening thoughts about taking over this job.
Yeah, the opportunity to return to a place that you already know is special, that's what makes this all work. Obviously, having been at Duke in North Carolina the way we have for the last 25 years, as I said, this wasn't on the bingo card. But when the process started and we dug deeper and deeper to figure out, okay, is this an opportunity that we want to explore? Just had more conversation, and then ultimately it was let's go. And it's all about the cadet student athletes and the Citadel's mission to develop leadership. And that's something that obviously we were a part of a long time ago. But you guys know the Citadel, it doesn't change a whole lot, and for good reason. And that's part of what makes this place special.
Going off that, how much of your familiarity with this place kind of will help in the transition?
I hope so a lot. I'm pretty calculated in my decision making, and so if I thought that wasn't going to be an advantage for us coming back here, probably wouldn't be here today. Obviously a lot of faces have changed, but then again, some have stayed the same, and so we'll rely on that, especially early on, as we try and navigate these waters.
On the other side of that, you say a lot about the Citadel doesn't change, but you touched on it in there, athletics has changed. How do you handle, especially a school like this one, the kids go through different processes than others in terms of getting athletes in here, kind of dealing with the new age of NIL, all that stuff?
Yeah, and that's the trick. The good thing, that's everybody's problem and everybody's challenge across the current landscape of college athletics. It's not specific to the Citadel. Coming from a place where we had challenges, they may be different, but they're still challenges. And so with good teamwork, good collaboration, and keeping the focus on what's best for the institution and the cadet student athletes, as long as we do that, we'll figure it out. We're problem solvers at heart, and we're educators. And so you put that combination together, and we'll make the best decision for the institution.
And you talked about meeting a lot of the cadet athletes. Just what's special about the guys here? What did they show you just in the short time?
Yeah, the cadet student athletes here, their determination, their competitiveness, and just their overall aura is what is fascinating to me, and always has been. As I mentioned in the press conference, the Citadel is different, it's special, and that's okay. It's okay to be different. And what this institution provides these young men and women is phenomenal.
What strengths do you think you bring to the job that will make a big difference here?
I can go left off the dribble.
That's unique.
That's pretty good. Strengths that I can bring here. Obviously, there's some institutional knowledge that will have to be enhanced, and just experience. Having done this for a long, long time, nothing surprises me in college athletics, even as crazy it has been recently. Just the calm demeanor and problem-solving capabilities, that is what I think that I can lend to this institution.
Are there certain things that you learned being around Mike Krzyzewski all those years that you can put to work here?
Sure, and we've learned a bunch from all the coaches that we've been around. Certainly, Coach Krzyzewski and his unparalleled success in college basketball. One of my favorite conversations with him was, when he taught me or guided me through the concept that every student athlete runs the race at his or her own pace, meaning expectations are just that. And a young person coming into a collegiate athletic environment, whatever those expectations may have been, don't worry about them. If somebody says, oh, Joe is supposed to average 15 points a game as a freshman and doesn't, that's okay. Joe's going to get better. And running the race at an individual's own pace, and it's true in life as well. Not all of us were successful coming out of the womb. It takes time, and relationship cultivation is a big part of that, and I'm a big believer in that. So that's probably the biggest thing that Coach, taught me.
Is there something day one on the agenda that you want to address early, or is there a couple things early on that you want to look at, or will be your focus?
Yeah, the focus becomes with the relationship cultivation, especially internally. If you're building a team or building an enterprise, the best way I know how to do that is you work inside out. Alignment and culture, those are what are going to put you in a position to be successful. And so starting right away with those relationships on campus is probably the key. Potential house settlement coming up. We'll see what happens. Everybody is, already spending the money as if it's already happened. It hasn't. So we need to be a little bit patient there and then make the best decisions, that we can for the institution. But then just getting back familiar, reconnecting, establishing new connections. There are a lot of coaches that weren't here when I was here. Coach Strayton was a player the last time I was here. I've known Coach Conroy for a long time, but never had the opportunity to work with him. So we've got some work to do there, but it all starts with a relationship.
Some of the comments of the new AD at the Citadel, Art Chase, all of his comments on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. Chris, anytime I visit the Citadel, walk on the ground there at Johnson Haygood or on the campus, I always walk away feeling like a better man.
No doubt.
Just something about
it's a cool place.
Being around El Cid that makes me feel like picking up a rifle and just shooting it at anything, a tree.
Don't shoot at the palmetto trees.
A producer,
Phil. That may be against
whatever.
state law.
No, they're cool people. They're cool people.
They are.
Glad to see the football program on the uptick this past season. Basketball has got, it's tough. That's the sad thing is, you're Ed Conroy, just like your Justin Ward. Justin Ward, right? No, Justin Gray. I'm sorry, Justin Gray.
Oh, at Coastal. Yes,
I'm
Justin
sorry,
Gray.
Justin Gray. You bring up a player, you develop a player, and he leaves you.
Yeah.
You build something around a guy, and they up and leave you. That's going to be the life for the mid-major forever now in college athletics, trying to hold a quality team together with good players that you help to develop. They're just not going to stay because they're going to be tampered with. They're going to get these offers, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to lose them.
Yeah, Coastal's seen it happen to them every year the last 3 or 4 years. Part of the reason that Cliff Ellis is no longer coaching basketball. How much better would the Chanticleers be this season if they had Jacob Meyer, who could have been freshman of the year in the Sun Belt last year, just torched the conference in the postseason tournament, and then now he's playing at DePaul. You throw another 20 points or so on that Coastal offense, they're pretty good with some of the pieces they have around him. But, yeah, and even going back to when Ibrahim Adiba, for instance, went to South Carolina.
Yeah.
Great defender. Really good player at Coastal. So, they're just – and it's going to happen every year. Now you got to worry about a guy like Noah Amenhauser, who scored 50 points the last 2 games. He's 7-2 and starting to come into his own. Is he starting to shine at the wrong time for Coastal and the right time for somebody at the high major?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Somebody will look at him, and you're not going to – what did he do for you to help you win a lot of games? Not that much. He might have gotten better down the stretch. But, okay, we'll be back. John Whittle, Will Vandervoort coming up.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. President Trump has been invited to a second state visit in the United Kingdom. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
At the start of an Oval Office meeting, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer delivered a letter to the president on behalf of King Charles.
It's an invitation for a second state visit. This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented.
The president, who received the honor during his first term, accepted the invitation. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Conservative media reports say many of the anti-Doge demonstrations greeting GOP lawmakers last week were organized by left-wing organizations. Bob Agnew reports.
A steady stream of anti-Doge demonstrations seemed to crop up organically at town hall events as House lawmakers held such gatherings in their home states during a week-long recess. Now reports in the Daily Wire and Free Beacon indicate the protests were anything but spontaneous. Rather, they were organized by George Soros-funded groups Move On and Indivisible. Despite the orchestration, mainstream outlets such as CBS, The Washington Post, and The New York Times reported them as though they were grassroots efforts. Bob Agnew reporting.
Egypt says negotiations between Israel and Hamas on the next phase of the Gaza ceasefire have begun in Cairo. Egypt's State Information Service said officials from Israel, Qatar, and the U.S. on Thursday started intensive discussions on the second phase of the ceasefire. Earlier in the day, an Israeli official had said its military will not withdraw from a strategic corridor in the Gaza Strip. The pullout was part of the ceasefire, and Israel's refusal could spark a crisis with Hamas and key mediator Egypt. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 193 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, face it, the world is uncertain these days, but there's something reassuring about holding on to what lasts, like the 2025 1-ounce Gold Eagle from the U.S. Mint, a symbol of American strength and an asset that stands the test of time. You can trust gold and you can trust Global Coin. Call 888-800-1045 to secure this magnificent gold coin, graded in pristine MS-70 condition for the dealer cost of $2,999. Free shipping, no sales tax. This is your chance to own a piece of history while building a foundation of enduring value. And it gets even better. Global Coin is giving the first 100 callers a free MS-70 2025 Silver Eagle to complement your 1-ounce Gold Eagle. Two iconic coins, a symbol of prosperity and a testament to the enduring value of gold and silver. Global Coin backs every purchase with a 30-day return policy, ensuring your peace of mind. Visit globalcoindeal.com or call 888-800-1045. No gimmicks, incredible coins at incredible prices. Again, that's 888-800-1045.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
China now says differences on international trade should be resolved through negotiations. That comment comes after President Trump announced a doubling of the 10% universal tariff charged on imports from China. U.S. stock market is doing well this year. However, there is a caveat.
When it comes to stock markets worldwide, this year has clearly not been America first. Wall Street has risen in 2025 and isn't far from its all-time high. However, it's climbed less than equities markets in Mexico City, Paris, and Hong Kong.
That is correspondent Rich Thomas. On a dismal day on Wall Street today, the Dow lost 193 points at 43,239. S&P off 77 at 5881. The NASDAQ plummeted 530 points. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Jason Walker.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing overnight with a low temperature dipping down to 42. Tomorrow it's glorious. Sunshine all day, a high of 70. And for Saturday, mostly sunny again, the high is 75. Sunday we get more sunshine, but it's cooler, the high just 56. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery Lucky 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody, and welcome in for those of you just joining us. Good to have you with us this big Thursday night. Phil Kornblut here in Columbia. Chris Bergen at the Bergie Artists. Josh Cohen is here. We have been talking about a lot of different stuff. Now we turn our attention to the big series, the base brawl for it all, as I have dubbed it. Nobody else calls it that. It's my unique name for the South Carolina-Clemson, South Carolina baseball series. Notice the balance there on how we refer to it. Let's break it down. Let's go nose to nose and toe to toe with two experts. These guys know more about what's happening at their respective schools than anybody else on the planet. We have John Whittle with us from the Big Spur and Will Vandervoort with us from up at Clemson with the Clemson Insider. Great to have these two guys with us. John, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, and as long as I'm not competing with Will in a foot race, we'll be good.
Oh, I don't know, man. I've seen you move. Will, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Don't worry, John. My running days have long since retired. Ask Matt Conley. He kind of taught me a lesson years ago.
I remember that. You guys actually did a dash, right? Didn't y'all have a race inside the practice facility or something?
Yeah, we did. We did it for some charity a few years back, and that was fun. And Matt's a little younger and obviously a little faster than me.
Yeah.
So you had to learn. I had to learn the hard way, like a lot of us old guys have to at one point in our life.
How many yards did he beat you by?
He's probably beat me. Now, Matt will probably tell you he beat me by 20. I would say officially he probably beat me by maybe about 6 or 7. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But there's video evidence of it. Ross Taylor's got it on his Twitter account, so you can go find it. There's video evidence of it, of how bad I lost.
I think the critical thing there is that you didn't keel over from a heart attack after it was over, so that's a good thing. At your
That's
age,
right, and I didn't tear anything.
That's right. At your age, you shouldn't be pushing the limits. Okay, let's get to the important stuff. Let's get to the baseball. You're the home team, Will, with the Tigers, at least for the first game. The Gamecocks are the home team for the neutral site and, of course, when they come back to Columbia. So Clemson's got a shiny, nice record. Are they as good as their record, in your opinion?
I think there's some you can say yes and no. I have no problem saying either way right now. It's kind of hard to tell. I will say this: Clemson obviously had 2 good wins to start the season out there in Dallas when they got a good come from behind win against Oklahoma State, and then came back the next day and just destroyed Arizona. Both teams were ranked, so those are 2 good wins for them. But then they finished that tournament in a disappointment, and they got beat 15-5 by Ole Miss and got run rules. And so you kind of wondered then, okay, what you got. But last week they came back and, won their tournament against VCU and North Carolina A&T. Really can't judge much out of that other than you saw some improvement in certain things, such as the pitching for one, I think got a little bit better in week 2 than it was in week 1. And then the other day, they went out there and just destroyed what I think is a pretty good Winthrop team. A Winthrop team I think will probably compete for its, conference championship. And I think they had their way with them on that day, and they hit the ball really well. So we'll see. I think the verdict's still out, Phil. And once again, as always, the Clemson-Carolina game is the one that's going to tell us how good either one of these teams are, and it gives us an idea what to expect going on the rest of the season.
I agree. John, the Gamecocks have an even shinier record than the Tigers do. Undefeated. Paul Maneri has never tasted defeat as head coach of the Gamecocks. Are they that good?
They won't stay undefeated the whole year. How about that?
That's good.
I'd give the Gamecocks a grade of incomplete so far. South Carolina has not, played the most difficult schedule yet. You look at who they've played and what the scores have looked like, and some have been lopsided, some have been close. you look at those close games and you say, that's going to build character for the end of the season. And, I'm sure it does in some ways, but I think you probably want a few more scores that were a little bit more lopsided than what you've seen so far. But at the end of the day, South Carolina's gotten the job done all 9 times out there with a couple of run rule victories. So I think we learn a lot more about this team this weekend. As Will was alluding to, they've played a couple of really good opponents, and I'm in full agreement with him that I think Winthrop, after watching them, I think they're going to be a pretty good team this year. South Carolina beat them 5-3 up in Winthrop, and Clemson took them behind the woodshed a couple of nights ago for 20-7. So that's the common opponent so far. But I like what South Carolina's done.
How concerned should Gamecock fans be about Dylan Eskew after the program put out the tweet on the rotation today and they TBA'd on Sunday? What are you hearing from your sources?
Well, as Paul Maneri mentioned yesterday, I guess he said he anticipates Dylan Eskew starting. I still anticipate that happening. I haven't heard on anything that he had any kind of setback or discomfort or anything like that today. I think it was I think it was just kind of put out there as I don't want to say precautionary. I think that they just want to leave that as TBA, and talking with some folks over there, that I still expect Dylan Eskew to start on Sunday.
Will, how good has Canuck been in his first 2 starts? The ERA is up a little bit, but a lot of strikeouts. Yeah. What have you seen from him in his first couple of starts?
Yeah, I mean, he's not, so far I don't think he's as sharp as he was a year ago. You did mention his strikeouts are up, but he's added a couple more pitches into his repertoire. And I think sometimes because of that, he's trying to go to those pitches maybe a little too much too early in the count, and it kind of he's not really hitting his spots with them, and you can just see he's not the same as sharp as he was a year ago at this point. Now it's early in the season; you got a long way to go. I think those pitches will get better as the season moves on. So he's had he'll go the first couple innings and looks really strong, especially when he's throwing his fastball and going with his changeup. But when he starts trying to go with that sinker that he's added and go with the cutter, he struggled a little bit more with those pitches, and you could tell teams are sitting on it. And he's given up some runs here, the 3rd or 4th inning. So about that second time around the order is when he gives up a little bit, or teams start figuring out what he's doing, and those other pitches just aren't helping him right now. And so I'm interested to see how he does this week against that Carolina lineup, how he's going to attack them. I do know this: the other day, Bellinger went out there after he struggled that 1 inning, came out there and basically said, okay, enough's enough with that. You just need to go pitch and stop thinking about stuff. And as soon as he did that, he was lights out the rest of the time he was in there. So I think right now it's more of a mental thing with him, and we'll see if he's got that fixed this weekend.
John, the Gamecock pitching has been sensational. Teams are batting 156. They've got 105 strikeouts against 23 walks. Matthew Becker's going to get the start tomorrow. He's 2-0, 1.59, and he's been outstanding, 17 strikeouts to 0 walks. Obviously improved. Where are you seeing the greatest improvement in him?
I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, first of all, you mentioned the fact that he hadn't walked anybody. That's new for Matthew. There have been some days where he's kept walks down in the past, and some days when they've just gotten out of control. But he's added a new pitch to the mix this year. He's got a little. I think he calls it a spike changeup, but it's a little bit of a changeup that he just hadn't had before, and that's how he's gotten a lot of his swings and misses in scrimmages. Now he's relied mainly on his fastball and some on that breaking ball he's been known for his first couple of outings. I think he'll show all 3 pitches, a good bit, this Friday up in Clemson, because he'll move up a day to get the start. But that's kind of his biggest difference this year is he's added another swing and miss pitch to what what's already been a couple of pretty good swing and miss pitches, and Andy's keeping him in the strike zone.
John, is there reason for Gamecock fans to be concerned about the catching spot? Talmadge LeCroy, I think he's done a pretty good job handling the pitchers, but he's not hitting, and he is a good hitter, as we've seen when he played other positions. Why do you think his hitting is struggling? Is it because of the work behind the plate as a catcher is affecting his hitting? And do you think they'll stick with him through the series?
I think they'll go with him game one and see how things go. But I anticipate him catching this weekend. He is a little banged up. He sat out the last 2 games. He's got a little issue with his right hand going on. So that it's his throwing hand and not his glove hand. So that's okay. But I think that's affecting him a little bit, especially from an offensive standpoint. He hadn't gotten the bat going just yet, but this is a big series for him, obviously, with that LeCroy last name, and he was the Tom Price Award winner for this series in the past, and is one that he takes heart with, and I certainly think he will be in there on Friday night, and I would be surprised if he doesn't start at least 2, if not all 3 of these games.
Will, the Tigers are 14 of 14 on stolen base attempts. You think they'll try and run on LeCroy or whoever's back there for the Gamecocks?
I do. Ever since Backage has been there, he's been big on putting pressure on the pitchers. Jaron Purify, obviously, is a guy, one of the fastest guys. He gets on base. You can count on him attempting to steal, no matter who's behind the plate. And then you got Tristan McClady, that has gotten. He's better this year, and he's another guy that actually is. I think he might be better than Purify around the bases. He's stolen second and third twice each time he's attempted in this season so far, in this young season. I think both occurred in last week's tournaments. So he's a guy, another guy that got on the pads that can run. And of course, if they want to, and they try not to because of what happened last year, him getting injured, they really haven't run him yet. It's Cam Canarella, who is lightning quick around the bases. I mean, if Cam's on first base and you hit it to the gaps, that runs scoring. I can tell you that right now. But they haven't tried him yet, so I'm interested to see if they're going to attempt to try him stealing some bases this weekend. But he got hurt last year sliding into third base against PC, and that was kind of had that shoulder injury the rest of the year because of it. So I think they're a little gun shy right now with him, but being that they're playing the Gamecocks and they know how big this series is, I could see him maybe attempting a steal or 2 in this series.
Talking to Will Vandervoort and also to John Whittle, breaking down South Carolina, Clemson, South Carolina baseball coming up this weekend. Notice, gentlemen, the balance at which I approach the series. John, South Carolina's closer, Brendan Sweeney, got 3 saves and has been lights out so far. Clemson's closer has also been lights out so far. Lucas Malstedt, who's got 2 saves and nothing else against him. So, John, who do you think has the better closer?
I've watched Lucas Malstedt pitch a couple of times. I don't think South Carolina folks would be real happy with me, but I would have to say him right now. Brendan Sweeney is still kind of getting comfortable in that role a little bit. This is something new for him. He's mainly been a starter, but he can get it gassed up pretty good, up to 96 at least. I feel like I saw 97 out of him in the preseason scrimmages, but at least 96 miles an hour. But Winthrop almost got him. There was. He hit a guy and then gave up a hit, and then a guy behind him almost hit a game-tying home run that hooked a little bit foul. Ended up hitting that guy and struck out the next guy to get out of that inning to get the save against Winthrop. But he's had a couple of easy saves. He's had one that was a little bit more challenging. But the fact that he hasn't really been in a bullpen role before. And the fact that he struggled a little bit one time on the road, I would kind of lean towards Malstead. But Sweeney certainly has closer repertoire. It's just a matter of him continuing to grow in that role.
Mm-hmm. Will, you agree with that?
I think Sweeney's more of a pure, what would be, I would say, is a closer. He's got high velocity, and that's what you want in your closer. If you throw strikes, you want him to be able to, just to blow it past people. Mostop's not the guy that's going to blow it past people. He's not that kind of guy. He's got 6 strikeouts and a 4 2/3 innings. He's more of a setup guy to me. Now he's come in, he's done well when he's gotten opportunities. But I still think he's a guy that Clemson really wants to use as a setup guy to get him into to get through maybe the 7th or 8th and then bring in. And I think Joe Allen maybe is the guy, I feel, that I think ultimately they want to be their closer. He came in the other day and against, I believe it was North Carolina A&T, and it's a tight 1-run game, and he just went in there and blew it past them. And I think he pitched the 8th and the 9th inning and struck out, I think, all 4 of the 6 batters he faced, and just looked really solid in doing, I think, 24 pitches. He threw 26 pitches, I believe, and 24 strikes. Was trying to remember the numbers off the top of my head from the other day, but he looked really solid in doing it. And I think that's the guy they ultimately want to be their closer when it's all said and done. But Mostop's got the experience, played in a lot of big games last year, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in that role against South Carolina, considering he has a little bit more experience than Joe Allen in that situation. But I think before the season's over, I think Joe Allen's going to sit in that role as a closer if everything goes according to plan.
Okay.
Guys, clearly that we care a lot about this series here in South Carolina, and I think it's hard to explain to players who are coming into either USC or Clemson that have never been involved exactly what it means to fans in our state and what the atmosphere is going to be like this weekend. Clearly, guys like Cam Cantarella and Ethan Darden, Aiden Canuck for Clemson, and Ethan Petrie and Matthew Becker, and the list goes on and on. Those guys understand. But Will, on the Clemson side of the coin, who's one or two of the guys that have played well thus far that do you think might shine and have maybe an Andrew Schufo moment this weekend for the Tigers?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. First guy I put on there is Dominique Listy. He is, man, this guy is a get-on-base machine. Batting .462, he leads the team. He's hungry. He's always going to put the ball in play. I mean, that's what he does. And he's a guy that he doesn't have great power, but he's going to drive, runs in when he gets that opportunity. He's the perfect leadoff guy because he gets in, gets on base to start the game, and then when he comes back around, if people are in scoring position, he brings them in, and he's got 13 RBIs to lead the team right now. Tristan McClatty, as I mentioned earlier, he's a guy that he's really come on this weekend, really came on, and I think a guy that could really, he's improved so much since last year. I think he's a guy that can really shine in this series. Maybe people aren't used to his name and who he is. And then 2 guys that are transfers, Josh Pano, who is, I think, having an outstanding season so far, is a guy that could really be a hero in this game if it came down to it. That Carolina guy that nobody really knows about because he's new. And then Colin Priest, who he sent if you haven't seen it yet, go watch the moonshot he had the other day where he knocked it, 405 feet. And the velocity coming off of it was amazing. I mean, just one of the best hits I've ever seen from a home run ball standpoint. So they got some power in there. Of course, you got Tristan Bezzetta as another guy that probably people don't know about that could come in and do some damage. And then, of course, Luke Gaffney, the kid from Purdue, the transfer that came in last year with the Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year. He's starting to come around a little bit, struggling a little bit at the plate as he's trying to get used to things, but he has some power, and he's more than capable of knocking it out of the park. And the guy I would definitely be worried about.
John, on the Gamecock side of the coin, clearly Aiden Canuck and whoever pitches for Clemson are going to try and do their best not to give Ethan Petrie an opportunity to beat them with one swing of the bat. So how do some of the other guys for the Gamecocks approach this series, and do the Clemson transfers play a big role in this, do you believe?
Yeah, South Carolina has certainly gotten some power from some other folks besides Petrie. South Carolina's got 12 home runs and 16 doubles already this year. Throw a triple in there too. Of course, Petrie had that somehow. But yeah, there are a few other guys in that order who have done a little damage, and I do think that the 2 Clemson guys are going to play a big role in this. Nathan Hall has been just a half step behind Ethan Petrie from an offensive standpoint so far this year. And that's really just from an batting average standpoint. You know, he's got one less hit, but same amount of doubles, same amount of home runs, same amount of RBIs between those two guys. And Nathan Hall's, you know, one of the knocks on him has been he struck out a little too much. He's only got 3 strikeouts and 30 at bats with 6 walks. So, you know, he's been phenomenal for the Gamecocks in that leadoff spot, and you know, he's been really, really good. And Naraki is figuring that out a little bit too. He's battled a little bit of a knee injury for a while, but he's getting there. But you know, Kennedy Jones is one who I've got circled, who hasn't played great so far this year. Has just been okay, and he's somebody who I think really needs to have a nice weekend for the Gamecocks. He's been batting behind Petrie, and you know, needs to give him a little bit of protection in the order. And you know, he's got a little Clemson tie himself. He's the brother of Sheridan Jones, the old Clemson cornerback. So you know, he needs to have a nice weekend. He's a veteran guy. And hasn't played quite as well as he can, and he's somebody I circle and say, you know, this guy needs to have a good weekend.
All right, guys, time to ask you the ultimate question. Of course, last year they only played 2 games because the game in Columbia was rained out, so they didn't play at Founders Park last year. They played at Doug Kingsmore. Clemson won 5-4. Prior to that, they played at Segra, and Clemson won 5-4. And that was in 12 innings. So 2 really tight games last year. Maybe the fact Clemson will be stepping onto Ray Tanner Field will make them a little nervous, John, when they come. Just seeing the name Ray Tanner is going to make the Clemson players wet their pants. I don't know, but at least Jack Leggett might know. Sorry, Jack. Anyway, John, who you got? Who you like here in the 3-game series? What you got?
I've been saying all along I think Clemson's going to take the series 2 out of 3, but I'm going to stick with it since that's what I've been going with. The closer it gets, the better I feel about South Carolina's chances. Though they've hit for a little bit more power, they've played really clean defense. They've been in some tight games. You know, Clemson's played in some tougher games though, so you know it's going to be a very intriguing series. I don't feel like I don't feel like this is going to be separated by a whole lot. I think it's going to be very well contested, just like it was last year with Clemson coming out on top both games. But you know, I'm going to lean towards Clemson, but I feel a lot better about South Carolina than I did, you know, maybe this time last week.
Yeah, it's really hard to call. But what do you think, Will?
You know, it's hard to say. I mean, they were both tight games last year, and you know, and I think this year it's going to be the same way. And to me, it comes down to this, guys. It's if Clemson can win the first 2 games, that's the only chance I think they got to win the series. And I mean, I mean that by saying if South Carolina wins either one of those games on Friday or Saturday, I just don't like Clemson's chances with Aaron pitching down in Columbia. I don't think he's ready yet he pitched much better last week than he did the week before. But again, you know, the week before he played Ole Miss in the opener and he didn't look good at all. He played, you know, the other day against North Carolina A&T, and he pitched well, but obviously the level of talent went down between Ole Miss and North Carolina A&T. And so where is he at? He's probably somewhere between. But, you know, them going down to Columbia and the series tied 1-1, I'm definitely going to go Carolina at that point because I just don't think Clemson's going to be able to win that Sunday game down there. So I say right now you can lean a little bit toward Clemson because of the, you got to like Clemson's chances with Canuck on Friday night. And if Darden comes in and pitches as well as he has been, then I think Clemson's got a chance to win that game.
Guys, y'all have been absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. Great stuff.
We can't thank you enough. Can't pay you. And we certainly can't thank you enough. But we appreciate you.
At least buy them a hot dog this weekend.
Maybe I'll buy you a hot dog. Maybe I'll buy you a beer at the beer garden out there at Clemson. Thank you, guys. Thank you, John Whittle. And thank you, Will Vandervoort. You guys are the best. And we'll be back. Thomas Ryan coming up in just a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clearing overnight with a low temperature dipping down to 42. Tomorrow it's glorious. Sunshine all day, a high of 70. And for Saturday, mostly sunny again. The high is 75. Sunday we get more sunshine, but it's cooler. The high just 56. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
If you step onto H&J Cattle's farm, you'll find third-generation farmers upholding the legacy. They embrace sustainability and take immense pride in their craft, raising cattle purely on nature's offerings, without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. The result? Unmatched quality beef that's not just good, it's the best in South Carolina. Experience the distinct flavor of our finest registered Hereford and Wagyu beef. Visit us online at hdjcattle.com or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting a woman suspected of vandalism against a Colorado Tesla dealership that included Molotov cocktails thrown at vehicles and a message apparently directed against Tesla co-founder Elon Musk has been charged in federal court. Court documents show Lucy Grace Nelson was charged Wednesday with 1 count of malicious destruction of property. She appeared Thursday in federal court in Denver. Mexico has sent infamous drug lord Rafael Caro Quintero to the U.S., along with 28 other prisoners requested by the U.S. government. Caro Quintero was behind the killing of a U.S. DEA agent in 1985. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 193 points. The Nasdaq dropped 530. More details at srnnews.com.
Step into a brighter future with Broker Solar. Transform your home, your business, your nonprofit into a beacon of efficiency and savings. With Broker Solar, you're not just installing solar panels, you're setting the foundation for long-term financial savings, taking control over these power companies that, well, let's face it, they have a monopoly. You can't choose your power company, but you can control the cost of your power. Ken and his expert team will help you to navigate through any complexities of solar energy. They'll tailor a system that's perfectly fit for your needs and for your budget. Get a rooftop setup or somewhere else on your land, or just start with solar to integrate powerful battery backups so when the storms do come, the power goes out in your block, it'll stay on at your home. It's not for everyone, but if you're even curious, don't you owe it to yourself to reach out and call Broker Solar for a free consultation? Listen, if you trust the point, if you trust me, I'm telling you, you can trust Broker Solar. Explore your solar potential at brokersolar.com. Start generating power on your terms. Broker Solar, empowering you while shining above the rest.
There are so many great reasons for choosing Sono Bello. Imagine looking in the mirror and loving everything you see. That's indescribable. Hey Point family, it's Casey Whitener. When I tell you about Sono Bello, it's easy to focus on body contouring because the results are so natural and beautiful. But another reason I love Sono Bello is no more yo-yo dieting. Yo-yo dieting is when you lose some weight, but then it creeps back, plus a few extra pounds. It's exhausting. Sono Bello's advanced micro laser fat removal technology removes stubborn fat for good in one single visit. Stop chasing numbers on a scale and stop with the endless diet struggles. Advanced micro laser fat removal is the permanent solution, and Sono Bello doctors are the experts. Do this for you and save. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/radio. That's SONOBELLO.com/radio. Tell them Casey sent you.
Hey, honey, I just picked up your dad's meds at True Pharmacy.
Great. I hate that he can't read the small print on the bottles anymore.
No worries. John put on new Script Talk labels.
What's that?
It's a special label on your dad's prescription bottles that comes with a little listening device. And when he puts the bottle on it, the device reads the whole prescription label out loud.
Wow. How much does that cost?
That's the best part. Script Talk is free. True Pharmacy, the pharmacy that truly cares. Come see us at our new location at 623 Beltline Boulevard or Triangle Pharmacy in West Columbia.
This is Fran Halloran, the Money Coach. Grow with the point as we build on 10 incredible years of community local radio. We've built an environment where our listeners are our family. Are you a small business with big dreams? Join the tremendous stable of advertising partners at The Point. Connect with Kevin Cohen and brainstorm a tailored strategy to escalate your business growth using the powerful platform of The Point. Call Kev directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, you can make the next year your best year.
No matter what, got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. and they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. 'Cause all I do is win, and if you going in, put your hands in.
Okay, we're back here on Sports Talk, and the high school basketball playoffs now reaching the state semifinal stage, and we've got Lee Central leading North 41-13. That's in the third quarter of the 1A girls upper state. And earlier today, if you're just joining us, earlier today we had a couple of final scores from the other side of the bracket being played in Florence. Class A boys lower state, Denmark-Olar beat Bethune-Bowman 63-49. And it was in the 1A girls lower state, Military Magnet over Denmark-Olar 57-36. These games being played at the Florence Civic Center. Coach John,
No.
I'm sorry.
I told you that.
I'm
It's the
sorry.
Florence Center.
Florence Center. Don't put Civic in there. Just
Don't
Florence.
put Civic in there.
Thomas Ryan, don't put Civic in your GPS. You'll end up somewhere else. Coach John Combs is out tonight. He's got a banquet for his daughter's basketball team. But in his place, we have got one of the coaches still alive in the state tournament from up at Dorman. Some call it Dorman University. It's still a high school. They just have facilities that look like a small college. Coach Thomas Ryan, as he's got Dorman into the upper state finals or the state semifinals in 5A Division I, going to play Blythewood in Florence on Saturday. And, Coach, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hope you are.
We are indeed. And congratulations on another fantastic season. Tracking you, of course, you were the number one seed, so you got a first-round bye. Then you beat J.O. Mann in a tight one, 79-73. Then River Bluff, 74-56. So how you feeling about the way your guys have played 2 games in the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm pleased. I mean, our guys have played well. I mean, we've competed. We've had 2 tough games. Both teams were very good, and we just kind of outlasted them, to be honest with you. Both of them, both games could have gone either way, and we're just glad to be still alive.
Who are some of the top guys on your team? Who's leading your team this year?
Well, Jaden Johnson's the All-State guy. Keenan Arcega-Whiteside, his brother, JJ, went to Stanford and played for the Eagles, a second-round draft point. I mean, they are our 2 kind of like our guys. I mean, they have really been big for us, and I'm proud of Keenan, and he's going to Rice to play basketball or football next year, and Jaden's only a sophomore. So those guys have been big for us.
Do you have the size? Are you a big team? What describe your team for us for those of us who haven't seen you?
I wouldn't say that. I think we've got a good mix. I think we've got a couple guards. I mean, Jaden, I just mentioned, made All-State. Keenan, Will Bush is another. He's a junior. We've got a kind of a good mix. Now, I don't know that I like the mix versus Blythewood. I mean, Zeke is a Hall of Fame coach there in Columbia, and we've got our work cut out for us.
Yeah, what do you like about this Blythewood team, or what concerns you the most about this Blythewood team?
Well, Lewis, number 3, and I'm a numbers person, but I mean, Lewis is stud. And we're going to have to cover up them at the 3-point line. I mean, they're really good.
So they got 3-point shooters. They got guys that can stand outside and bomb it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Blythewood's good. I mean, Zeke will have them playing very, very – they're a physical team. We've got whoever wins the rebounding battle will win this game.
How do you like having the split playoff for basketball? You're not getting to see the other guys, 5A Division II. Maybe some of those teams might have been in the mix with you. I don't know how things would have worked out. But how do you, as a longtime coach in the state, like the divided 5A playoffs?
I don't love it. I don't know the answer. That's a loaded question there. I don't love it at all, but some divisions get it better than others. I mean, ours are we've got a higher. That's a tough one. I don't love it. I think it can help other teams. probably in our division, it doesn't hurt us, but it's tough for others.
Yeah. Here's another loaded question for you. You ready?
Yep.
Since you're sitting in for Coach Combs and we have to bounce all these things off of him, you're the target tonight. So this didn't impact you at all because you're not involved in any of this, but we had a case. You had the case today of the appeals at the high school league with the girls team from Ashley Ridge, 5A Division I, and they lost their appeal, ineligible player, blah, blah, blah. Both Chris Bergen and I are of a mind that once the playoffs begin, your roster should be locked. And, if somebody's got something on you they've got information of an ineligible player, then bring it up prior to the playoffs so we don't have this come up at the 11th hour. Do you think, is that a fair thing there, or is it fair and better the way it's done now, in your opinion?
Oh, I'm not. I know nothing of that situation at all.
Yeah, just in general, not that situation, but just in general.
Well, I think if you know something, you need to bring it up. But that I do not know that situation at all.
Yeah. Do you like the idea of locking the rosters are locked once you get to the playoffs? You can't not that case, just in general. You can't bring up something to the high school league once the playoffs begin. Would you like to see that?
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Okay. What about the?
I don't know anything about that situation.
Yeah. No. I'm not asking directly to comment on that situation. I'm just talking about the general picture of enforcement and how teams wait until the state semifinals to turn a team in. When in this case, they knew all along that they had an ineligible player, but they waited until the semifinals. All I'm saying is, if you've got evidence of some wrongdoing, bring it up during the season before the playoffs.
I agree with you on that.
Why throw a particular playoff bracket into some chaos, or give a team, as a result, Somerville gets a free ride into the state championship game instead of having to play a semifinal game. They get a free ride. I just think that's the wrong way to approach it. So you got to make at least one trip to Florence, maybe two. Are you okay with making that ride? Would you like to see some adjustment with how they handled at least the semifinals as far as location?
Well, I don't think the upper state championships will ever be played in Florence. Okay, so I'll start there. I've played in a bunch of upper state championship games, and whether it's Greenville, wherever, I think we're doing our kids an injustice by not trying to make it the best experience for them, and I don't think Florence is doing that.
That's a long ride from Spartanburg on a bus.
Yeah, 100%.
To do it, and if you win, you got to go back. You got to go back the next week. In the case of this, I can remember in days past when you had, like in baseball, when they have this, I think in the state championships for baseball, when they come down to a deciding game, they find a neutral site that's sort of in the middle between the two teams. But I think in the past you used to have a single upstate location, right, over at Greenville, and everybody would go there.
We've been Bon Secours. We've been everywhere. I honestly, we talked to Wofford 2 days ago. They are open and wanting to host, but our high school league has not contacted them and has not reached out. I don't know where that stands, but we have failed our kids on that.
Yeah, I agree. That's just it's just silly to have teams. Well, in this case, Dorman and Blythewood, you guys aren't neighbors, but in some cases, you've got really teams that are real close having to go all the way across the state to play each other.
Well, we asked Wofford, have you ever heard from the high school league? And they said no. And that told me that we're not doing our job on that part.
Should Wofford should Wofford call them?
Wofford is very open to hosting, but we have not contacted them. We have not negotiated with them, and we have not helped our kids out there.
Yeah. And they have a beautiful arena.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. So one more thing. you guys have been off for about a week after having to play a couple of games there within a couple of days. So is that good? And Blythewood's the same, and the other two teams on the other side the same, the way the schedule has worked out. This break been good?
Well, I don't like the break. I mean, I don't know who came up with the schedule, but we're going to play it, and we're excited, and we can't wait to go to Florence. But it's been a weird schedule. I don't know who came up with it.
I thought so too. I mean, you last played on February 22nd, and now you're going to play Saturday, and you win that game, and then you don't play again until next Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, we can all sit down in a room and figure this out. I don't think it makes sense.
Well, who's in charge?
I really don't know.
There's got to be somebody to look at this stuff for high school basketball and figure it out.
Yes, and we're excited to play Saturday.
I know you are, and I know that's where you're focused. Hey, we thank you very much for stepping in and taking our arrows tonight. Good luck on Saturday, and we appreciate you, and we'll talk to you again.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. All right, Coach Thomas Ryan. Well, I mean, he's not in a position to make decisions or anything like that, but he can certainly throw his opinion out there. And you apply common sense. He's right. When I was looking at this, I'm thinking, why is there such a break between games here too? Is that? I mean, they're going to play one. If they win tomorrow, that means they will have played one game between February 22nd and the championship game. I mean, if they win on Saturday, they will have played one game between February 22nd and March the 7th.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to extend the playoffs way beyond what they do during the regular season when they're almost playing 2, sometimes 3 games a week. And to the point about failing the kids, I really thought that hit home. Talks about having to bring from Spartanburg all the way over here to Florence. Let's take the extreme examples for a moment. If Walhalla High School made the state finals, Walhalla to Florence is almost a 4-hour drive. And could you imagine asking Hilton Head, if somebody from Hilton Head, their high school, have to play in the upper state finals or the lower state if they were in Greenville?
Yeah.
That's a 4-hour drive back up to the upstate.
Yeah.
I mean, it boggles the mind that we're in this situation, especially as Coach pointed out, that you've got a viable option in Wofford at a beautiful facility. I love Wofford's on-campus facility. That'd be a perfect spot to host the upper state finals.
Well, somebody needs to make contact with somebody. Wofford needs to pick up.
Who's not talking?
Yeah. I mean, if they want it, then make a doggone phone call and say, hey, we'll host the upper state and blah, 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 and let's don't worry about money. Get the legislature. If you need money, then let's get some money from the legislature, whatever, to fix this thing and make it make sense.
Yeah.
Make it make sense, people. All right, we got to run to the break, and we appreciate Coach for being with us tonight. We got some college basketball taking place tonight. Got a couple of state teams in action. Well, of course, the South Carolina women playing tonight at Ole Miss. They haven't tipped yet. Winthrop and Longwood are 5-5, and Delaware is leading Charleston. Oh, we got an update. Winthrop 45-24, and Charleston leading Delaware 43-34. Be right back.
Bringing you the latest in sports across South Carolina and beyond. This is Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Calling all turkey hunters, this is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Turkey season is coming soon. The most common accident while turkey hunting is failing to identify your target. Know the identifying features of a turkey. Make sure of your target and what lies beyond it before you pull the trigger. Remember, safe hunting is no accident. For more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov.
Relax. Start your journey with a new auto loan. Get ready for a season of adventure. Escape the ordinary and get on the road with an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. From city streets to off-road trails, your journey begins here. Our low fixed rates can get you on the road in a ride that fits your lifestyle and your budget. Featuring no payments for up to 90 days. Simply apply early for a pre-approved spending limit before you even start shopping. Let a Founders representative be your trusted trusted advisor to make sure your purchase makes sense for you and your finances. Ask for a free auto insurance quote for a personalized plan to protect your purchase. Founders also offers mechanical breakdown protection that is competitive with most warranty plans available at dealerships. Visit one of our many convenient office locations or go to foundersfcu.com/auto to apply for an auto loan today or to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Okay, it's that magical time of the show. Our recruiting report brought to you by Seawell's. All right, down to a Friday luncheon buffet at Seawell's. And we got to get Sully out there at Seawell's. You been to Seawell's? Man, we'll get you out there. Take you to I tell you what, you give me a golf lesson, and I'll pay for your daily luncheon buffet at Seawell's.
You've never paid for mine or taken me.
Because you don't really do anything of value for me. So.
Okay.
But if he teaches, if he gives me some golf tips, now that is valuable. Yeah.
Gotcha.
What we got tomorrow?
Sliced beef brisket, fried fish nuggets, carved applewood smoked ham, and southern fried chicken.
Smoked ham.
Carved applewood smoked ham.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, 4 words there.
Don't forget, for the best in the catering business, that would be the Seawell's family and their staff. They can handle all your planning and your catering needs at their facility, 1125 Rosewood Drive, or they'll come to your venue. Their website, SeawellsCateringSC.com. Give them a call as well, 803-771-7385. All right, talked to Carson Baker last night, the running back from Fairburn, Georgia, 6'2", 190. And South Carolina kind of thought they had him all to themselves a while back, but now others have moved in strongly, including Clemson, and he's going to visit Clemson on Monday. He said running backs coach C.J. Spiller has increased his recruiting efforts, and so he's decided to come on down I-85 Monday, take in a spring practice. Spiller went by the school twice to see him. They had a great conversation, and they haven't actually offered. They might be waiting for him to come on campus. I think this will be his first visit to Clemson. So sometimes, most cases, Clemson will not offer you until you visit. So that could be the situation here. You might want to be on alert for an offer from him maybe on Monday. So he wants to see what Clemson looks like, the culture, wants to watch the practice. He could be back at Clemson as well March 8th for their Elite Junior Day. That's still to be determined. He does have Florida State down for a spring visit March 22nd. He also plans to visit Georgia and Southern Cal in the spring. He's got official visits, Florida State May 30th, Ohio State June 13th, and Texas A&M June 20th. Now, South Carolina is also a major factor with Baker. Shane Beamer, running backs coach Marquell Blackwell, have been on him perhaps harder than any other recruiters considering the multiple visits he's made to Columbia going back to last spring, and they're not letting up. He said that South Carolina is definitely one of his top fives at the moment, and they keep building their relationship, he said. And he says he hears from them every day, and they say that he's a priority for their 2026 recruiting class, and they really want him there. He said most likely he'll take an official visit to USC, and he plans to talk with Spiller about an official visit with Clemson. Though he's already scheduled an official visit to Florida State the weekend that Clemson will stage its official visits. Baker said he's looking at the latter part of the summer for making his decision. Dutch Fork defensive end Julian Walker let us know that he's got spring visits to North Carolina, NC State, and Wake Forest March 7 and 8, Missouri March 11th, Michigan April 4th. Those are all unofficial. Center Grant Wise named the top 5 of Clemson, Tennessee, Oregon, Miami, Alabama. Safety Caden Gebhardt of Ohio plans to visit Clemson March 7 and 8. Clemson target cornerback Aiden Pouncey, Winter Park, Florida. Official visit to Syracuse June 6th. Another Clemson target receiver Connor Salmon. Official to Notre Dame June 13th. Offensive tackle Zayden Crimpin of Texas. He'll take an unofficial to Clemson March 7th, the first of several spring unofficials for him. Clemson target receiver Cedarian Morgan, official to Colorado May 9th. Clemson target defensive end Camarion Johnson, offered by Southern Cal. USC target cornerback Kerry Adams, offered by UCLA. USC target defensive tackle Brian Harris, offered by Auburn. Linebacker Nick Abrams of Owings Mills, Maryland, who had USC on an earlier short list, did not include the Gamecocks in his new top 10, which he put out today. Michigan, Oregon, Penn State, Texas A&M, Georgia, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Southern Cal, Michigan State, and Duke. North Augusta, offensive tackle Malcolm Gaston, offered by North Carolina. 27 corner Joshua Dobson of Catawba Ridge, offered by Louisville. Basketball, Final 5 with 6'1", Savvy Swords, or Swords. Savvy Swords? How would you pronounce that, Bergie? Swords.
It's got to be Swords, right?
Swords or Swords? It's somebody's name.
It's Swords.
Swords, yeah. Like the sword, but it could be Swords.
SWORD?
S, uh-huh.
I would think it's got to be Sword.
I like the first name, though, Savvy.
Savvy.
Of Glen Head, New York. Final 5, Gamecocks, Kentucky, UCLA, Michigan, Notre Dame. And point guard Aaliyah Chavez of Lubbock, Texas. March 25th announcement. USC, LSU, Texas Tech, UCLA, and Oklahoma are the favorites. Okay, there you go. Tomorrow we'll be at Clemson. Dabo Swinney in the afternoon. Baseball at night, Bergie. Can't beat it.
Should be fun. Tomorrow night's game should be outstanding. Matthew Becker against Aiden Canuck. That may be a 1-0, 2-1 type ball game. Should be terrific. I think it's going to be a great series. I'm hedging on the Gamecocks, maybe not winning tomorrow, but I think they get the neutral site game, and much like Will Vandervoort pointed out, I think they win in Columbia on Sunday.
All right. That'll do it. Thank you, Josh. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.